Are you keeping life simple?
Welcome to Kirsti Cast, the show where we hope to illuminate, entertain, and engage our listeners, helping them create the life they want. I'm your host, Kirsti Manna.
Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for being here today. This is Kirsti Cast, and I am Kirsti Manna. And with me today is Bill Warner, the mad scientist behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, running the show, and setting up the lights, getting the mic set up, all that good stuff. I couldn't do it without him. So thank you very much, Bill. And in case any of you wondered, yes, I am married to Bill, and he is married to me for a really, really long time, like about 6 months. No, I'm kidding. We've been married a lot longer than that. Anyway, I thought I would start the show off today. He's shaking his head. I thought I would start the show off today with talking about being simple. Living a simple life. Are you living a simple life? I don't mean like, are you living off the grid? You know, are you cooking everything in the backyard, going to the creek for the water, all that stuff? I don't mean that. I mean, are you living a life that's de-stressed, that's simple, you're happy, you're having a good time? A lot of people are living lives that are really cluttered and really busy, and I'm one of them. And it's really hard to live in today's times and not live a busy life. It seems like there's so much going on and there's so much coming at us, right? And especially as women, you know, we like to say that we multitask, but I was doing a little research and found out that multitasking actually means you get less done than if you just focus on one thing. And so a lot of researchers and experts are saying, don't worry so much about multitasking, but worry more about just focusing on one thing. So that's something that I think I might try and see if I do become more productive with my time. So what are you doing in your life to get off the hamster wheel? Well, one thing that you might do is you might declutter. And that's something that we think, well, you know, we want to declutter a room or declutter a closet. But actually, you can declutter your life a little bit. And one of the biggest ways you can do that is by simply saying no to some things. There might be things that you do all the time in your life that maybe you really don't want to do them. And I don't mean, you know, cooking dinner, or sometimes I really don't want to cook dinner and I do. But I'm talking about things that, you know, a lot of things on your plate, maybe too many activities, that kind of thing. So it's okay to say no. That's one way that you can really simplify your life. You know, you don't have to do everything and be everything to everybody. You need to treat yourself a little more kindly. Take care of yourself. Give yourself a little bit of self-care. And one of the things you can do is by simplifying. When was the last time that you did absolutely nothing? Now, I don't mean, you know, sitting around watching TV doing nothing. And I don't mean meditating. I mean actually sitting and doing nothing. Just staring out a window. Letting your mind wander. Well, the Dutch call this niksen. And it sounds kind of like nix, something to me. And it's really, really cathartic and really healthful to sit around sometimes and do nothing. So I'm going to try that a little bit every day and see how it helps me and helps my brain and helps me rest my brain, because that's something that I try to do more of in my life, because I always feel like I'm going a million miles an hour. Also, find some focus. Find focus. You know, we were talking about multitasking at the beginning. Find focus with what you want to do. Maybe just for a week, just find one thing a day that you need to get done and just focus on that one thing until you finish the job. And don't worry about doing 20 things and running in 20 directions. I hope that those tips helped you and that you're going to find some ways to simplify your life. Get out there, do some daydreaming. Stick around. We'll be right back with the Shero Spotlight.
Stay tuned for the Shero Spotlight.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Shero Spotlight. And today's guest is one of my dearest friends here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I think anywhere in the whole world. She and I call ourselves the Italian Girl Scouts. And the reason we do that is because we're both of Italian descent and we are Girl Scouts. We're always early. We're always on time. We're always getting there at 2 hours early to get a parking spot. All those things that Girl Scouts do. So, and we're even thinking about starting to put on like badges on our sashes and just wearing them around town just to, get this whole club going. I'm just kidding. I don't know. We might do that. We're a little crazy that way. But let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a Nashville native, and she is based here in Nashville. She's a songwriter, publisher. She has her own company called Tagged Tree Music, and she is a CSAC writer and publisher. She's a multi-genre talent. She writes music for all different kinds of styles of music, and she's been heard globally, everywhere from Nashville to the Virgin Islands, Europe, South America, and even Australia, because we are celebrating a single, we hope to be a single, of an artist there named Kirsti Manna. And so she's also developed this amazing project called This Is My America, and it's a musical journey of the United States, and there's all kinds of major artists that have put their original songs on this project. Dolly Parton, Mark O'Connor, Charlie Pride, Billy Dean. And so you need to check it out and get your copy. It's really a beautiful project, and she's very proud of it, and we're going to be talking about that in a few minutes. So let's welcome now to our stage, Lynn Wilbanks.
Hi.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Thanks for being here today.
It's great to see you.
And we are talking to Lynn from her beautiful home in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I hope we're going to hear some beautiful birds singing. I bet they'll show up in this interview because they're very close by.
Yes.
So you're a Nashville native, and they're hard to find. And I just wanted to ask you, what music influenced you while you were growing up here in Nashville?
Well, first of all, growing up here in Nashville, I guess I was deep-seated in country from the get-go. And when I was growing up, it was more of the original old-style country. And so those were influences of mine from the very early on. Everyone from, Loretta Lynn, Bill Anderson, this goes way back. And I actually attended the last performance at the Ryman Auditorium of the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
No, my dad took us down. We sat right on the first few pews, and all family of 7, and it rolled right into the midnight, and it was great. I just remember I was fascinated with the commercials of all things. I guess because I was younger, and they would pause and do the flower commercials and all this, but it was great. So very influenced by that, and led on into that. Growing up, I would go down to Acuff Rose Publishing Company with friends of mine, and that his family was part of that, and would get some sheet music, and I played piano. And so I was very lyric driven. So I would study all the lyrics, because to me, the country lyric has always been important to me. And it is something that I studied lyrics as a child too, or as a young person growing up. So the country song, the lyric, the story style song was really something that influenced me. And so of course, Nashville also had a lot of pop influence coming on, and I would listen to the radio at night with pop music, with my transistor radio plugged into my ear, and listen to WMAK, which is our local, radio station with the DJs, and just influenced a lot lyrically, I guess, with music. And I was part of loved to go Nashville Symphony. We had that influence. We went to that regularly, and church person, so hymns were my influence. And it was kind of a conglomeration of a lot of different things. Very
well-rounded. I love the story about going to the Opry the last night. That is so cool.
Yes.
Well, so then what do you feel like drove you to, as a songwriter, what was a thing that inspired you to be a songwriter? Because I know you were a school teacher, and were you writing songs while you were teaching school and raising your kids, or not?
Yeah. Well, I was always creative. I loved to sew as a young person, and would love to make things out of nothing to start in creating. And so I sewed and would work as a school teacher. You didn't have a lot of budget, and so you had to be creative in your classroom. I was a chemistry teacher, so I had to be creative there, and to have the kids stay with you as far for subject and whatever. And then started writing as when our children were young, and started writing for Lifeway, part of their company with children's music. And so I started writing children's music because I was surrounded by at home, a stay-at-home mom with 2 children. And so I started writing them and for our daughters. Actually, she was in the chorus at her elementary school, and my first performed song was their chorus, their little elementary chorus that performed a song that I wrote. So that was really
that's
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah, there's nothing like hearing children. Yeah,
that's so cool. And I know how proud you are of your kids, and they're all grown up now, but your daughter Laura Cruz was the script supervisor for the Nashville show, and
4 seasons.
She's a great I want to say great kid. I mean, she's a kid to me.
Yeah.
She's a great person and is really carving out a wonderful career for herself. So that's really exciting. And you did something cool. You got to be and appear on the Nashville show. Can you just talk for a few minutes about that was one of your side hustles. You were an actress.
Oh, really side hustle. It was, I really just enjoyed seeing my daughter work behind the scenes. And so I would be an extra and just in the masses, but really would kind of just hang in the back of all the crowd as far as the extra scenes, so I could watch the production work from the back. I really enjoyed, because that's what she did. She was in the production part for 4 seasons. And so I just appreciated all the work. And I learned how much work goes into a production, whether it's a television show, a video, a movie. I've been on some movie, just as extras. And so you really learn how much work goes in, and you appreciate the crew beyond belief. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. I know I've done work in film and TV. I actually like TV better because it went faster. I thought that film was kind of, you had the hurry up and wait syndrome going there, and you and we have all this energy. So it's hard for us to sit around, right?
Yep.
So this is something that I ask every one of my guests. I ask them to tell our listeners and me a stay inspired story. And this can be a short story about anything that's inspired you in life. It could be a person or a place, something you did.
Right.
So just was curious to hear what yours was.
I would say my inspired story would began the day I was born.
Oh.
And that would be with my parents. Of course, I was a little bitty baby, and Mom and Dad said I stayed in the ICU or whatever for 2 weeks before they could bring me home. I was a 4-pound, 9-ounce little thing. So,
wow.
My dad could put his, I heard the story, could put his college ring around my wrist.
Oh, but, my word. That's a story.
Anyway, but it began with my parents, and it continued on with my parents. And like I say, I'm one of 5 children, and they continued to inspire me all my life with just how they were educators. And my mom was a stay-at-home as well with us, and just a wonderful homemaker. And then when my father passed away with cancer, my mom just continued on being both love is both of them. And
right.
So she fully inspires me to this day, and started painting classes at age, I think, 78, and has been in art shows and keeps up with college friends, and is active in her church, and bakes and sends thank you notes and writes birthday cards, and just does so many things for other people, and continues to do that as a wonderful human and as my mom.
That's so great. And I met your mom, and she's such a classy person, and you guys enjoy the symphony and everything together. And you didn't fall too far from the tree, when it comes to being like your mom, because you're a real thoughtful and perceptive person, and you're you're very curious and interested in people. And that's such a beautiful thing when our parents pass that kind of thing on to us.
Yeah.
Because I think it, it helps us. It helps us make the world a better place. And I just lost my mom a little while ago, but I feel the same way. She was just always somebody that was really creative and in the way she taught us things in our lives and encouraged us to try things out. And I know your mom has been like that for you, and you're like that for your kids too. So good job on that one, Lynn. I think that's really beautiful. So I also wanted to ask you how your process is of writing. I know what it is somewhat because I'm in the room with you a lot. We write a lot of songs together, but what is the thing that turns you on the most about writing? What's your process? How do you get going on an idea?
Good question. I think as a writer, and I've been writing for like 20 years, it's different with every write. And I co-write. I bring a lot of ideas to the table every time. I'm always bringing, I have like the hook book and ideas. I hear phrases and I write them down. I bring those with me every time to every write. And sometimes we in the room use one of those. Sometimes it's what someone just says as a co-writer in the room as we're whatever they feel that day or whatever. And so it can be it's a variety of things. But my story songs, a lot of times that I've written in the past, I will bring the hook and an idea of a story. And I do like to co-write. I do start a lot of ideas and start writes by myself, but I really love co-writing. And I think it's because number one, I'm from a big family.
Uh-huh.
I was never alone except as the firstborn. And I don't remember that until my brother came along when I was 3. So, but I just love being with others. And so I like to see what happens in the room and whether it's, 2 or 3 people. But so I do bring, I guess my strong point is probably hooks, I would say, and a story idea. So
You do come up with a lot of quirky, weird ideas, which I love, and we always have a good time. And I think that too about co-writing. It's something that I always say to young writers is that you have to discover who you are as a writer, as a person, because if you have a certain requirement, your personality requires you to be communal, which that's what I'm like. I like co-writing too because I'm real communal, and so when you can figure that thing out about yourself as a creative person, it can really enhance your art. When you don't lie to yourself, so to speak.
And being flexible as well. I think in the write every day. Being flexible and not having it. It has to be this way or whatever way. It just is. I love co-writing because things are born out of that. It could have been like they say a blank sheet of paper when you walk in. And that's exciting when that happens.
Well, and we both know from being in so many rooms with different people writing and coming up with ideas out of nothing, as you were saying, and that's so true, is that you have to really be open to other people's ideas. And it teaches you a lot about listening because you learn to listen to other people's ideas and, listen to their emotions and listen to how they're saying their ideas and when there's excitement in their voice about an idea. So it's a lot of fun. It teaches you a lot as a creative person.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you this too. How do you feel like you've influenced your kids in regards to their own individual authenticity?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that as a parent, providing early on, love, unconditional love, a safe environment, a home environment where they could thrive and do whatever they wanted to do creatively. Unfortunately or fortunately, I think both of our children are the same as I am, a left brain, right brain. Because I was a chemistry teacher and I'm a songwriter. It's crazy. And so I've seen that they both are that way. And so they were driven early on to do well in school and all that. But then they had not that you can't be creative and do well, but they had that creative side early on. And we just really supported that. I was big on, I called it open-ended toys. And what that meant was, here's a stack of clean white paper and a box of crayons.
Go for it.
Go for it. Not here's a coloring book, color me something. And the same thing with blocks. I loved blocks, and here's blocks or Legos, and just put it together any way you want, and it didn't. And so I influenced them that way. I think tried to be open-ended with creativity.
Yes.
And then just trying to teach them that we as parents want them to feel loved, and then as they go into choosing careers, and they're both graduates from MTSU, be happy, be safe, and feel like you're productive, and it doesn't matter what you choose to do, and that's kind of, we just tried to influence that all the way through, and they both have pursued that to the fullest, So
well, both of your kids are really kind people and successful people in what they're doing creatively. And also, I think it's so important when we build confidence in young people, when we inspire them to be something that they think they want to be.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you give people a foundation of confidence, then they're really going to feel like they can do anything, and they can go out and do something that seems left of center to somebody else. It doesn't seem like a regular job or whatever you want to call it. We're songwriters, and it just seems like a regular job to me because it's what we do, right? But
I know. And both of ours were never, okay, what are you doing? I'll do that. What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? It was always like they were happy to they could entertain themselves, or go with a group. Either way, they were happy, and so they could make their own decisions, and always have made their own decisions based on what they felt like was best at that time and what they wanted to do, not what the group, quote unquote, wanted to do.
Yeah, not running with the pack.
Right. They were not followers. They were not followers. Yeah. Leaders most of the time, sometimes that they just led themselves. And so, but many times in a group, they both had, grew up with, president of the band and different things like that. So.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, I always ask, we have time for a few more questions, and I always ask my guests, what is your power word?
Oh, I've got one.
Don't say Girl Scouts. No, I'm kidding. You could say Girl Scouts.
Yes. I think this is called an oxymoron, but I'm not sure. I wasn't an English major. I think I'd call it simplicity.
Simplicity. Oh, that's okay. When I think of simplicity, I think of authenticity. So there's a lot of.
Yeah, I would say simplicity. And I would say, like I said, I used to sew. So simplicity patterns were always fun for me because they were simple, and you could make something really cool out of something very simple.
Yeah.
And I think that works in my songwriting. It's when you hear a song, or when I hear a song, that I go, wow, what a great song, yet it's so simple.
Yes.
And as a songwriter, that can be a challenge.
Oh,
yeah. It's a fun challenge.
It can be really complicated to write a simple song.
It can be. And some of and so, and in life, I was a science major, so I love simpleness, being out in nature, the simplicity of nature. I can't ever, nature, I'm, fueled and get refilled by being outside. I'm sitting outside now. You probably hear my birds chirping everywhere.
Yeah.
Chickens. I got some chickens back there too. But,
I was going to put my egg order in before this interview is over, so don't let me forget.
Oh, okay. Yes. Brown eggs.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. Finish this sentence. The thing I'm most grateful for today, the number one thing I'm most grateful for today is?
Family and friends.
Family and friends.
Family and friends. I know that's two, but my friends feel like my family. And my family, I love them as friends. We're friends. So to be friends with your family, that's really special.
It's really special, because it's so sad if some people can't get along with their family. It's like, oh, it's too bad.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I want you to tell everybody where they can get a copy of your beautiful This Is My America CD set. Where can they find out more about that?
Yes, well, thank you for asking. Right now, it's online. It may still be available on iTunes. We've actually kind of pulled some of it down
Okay.
because it's being regrouped into a new component. We finished phase one of this project. It's called "This Is My America," and basically, it just takes the listener on a journey through the history of America with original songs and narrations and stories. And so, 1 and 2 phases have finished. Really, actually, a few years ago, and we're working now with funding and whatever to work on a television documentary, and
Oh,
a television,
congratulations. That's going to
yeah,
be
and
good.
television special, hopefully even a live show at some point, with at somewhere. And so it's kind of, because it's audio only right now,
Okay.
and so there's 64 tracks, songs and narrations, but about 38 different artists, or 38 different songwriters, I should say. But there's 350 people. There are 350 people plus that are part of the project.
That's
So it's
so
really
great.
large. Yeah, it was very big. But we're hoping and moving forward to getting it moved through to phase 3 and 4 and 5. So
Oh, that's
kind of in the
exciting.
works. Yes, it's been used by educational schools and whatever throughout, because it is historically correct. So
Yeah.
it's a
It's
teaching
it's
component.
really beautiful. Well, I hope everybody
Thank
will go
you.
check it out. And you can find Lynn on social media. She's on Facebook, and you can go there and have a chat with her if you want to ask her anything else about This Is My America. She'll be happy to fill you in. Well, Lynn, I want to thank you from one Italian Girl Scout to another. Thank you so
Yes,
much for being here and
you're
being
welcome.
on time. And
Yes.
and we joke about it, but we love that about each other, that we were originally Girl Scouts and now we've grown up to be Girl Scouts still. So,
Exactly.
well, you have a great day. Thanks everybody for sticking around for our Shero Spotlight with my dear, dear friend and sister, Lynn Wilbanks. We'll be right back.
You're my hero, more than a hero, and I look up to you every single day. Every day, my celebration, my inspiration is to be like you, but in my own way. You're my hero, more than a hero.
Thank you to my dear Italian Girl Scout friend, Lynn Wilbanks. She is my sister, and we call each other the Italian Girl Scouts, because we're always like 25 minutes early to go somewhere in Nashville, because you have to be if you think you're even going to get one parking spot. Anyway, and also thanks to Roxanne Charette, who is my co-writer on the You're My Shero theme song for that segment. Hope you enjoyed that. Well, for those of you who don't know it, I am a Nashville songwriter and publisher, and so I like every show to play a little bit of one of my songs. And I thought today I would play something that I wrote with Lynn Wilbanks and also the Hobbs sisters. And Lynn and I are very patriotic, and so Lynn came with this idea one day called American Heart, and this is what we came up with. Hope you love it. He holds the door, he holds my hand, he prays a prayer for a little rain on his daddy's land, and he lives up to his words the best he can. Strong as he needs to be, tender and wide about me is wild as bluebells on a Virginia farm. Deep as a canyon and wide as a true Montana blue sky. Need it like neon needs a honky-tonk bar. His daring American heart. American heart. That was American Heart. I hope you're going to go to Kirsti.com and check out some of my music. We'll be right back.
What the tech? What the tech? Tech.
Well, I love this segment, What the Tech, because as I say every week, I am technically challenged. Yes, I still am technically challenged, but I'm getting better. And I thought it would be fun to find something technical that simplified our lives, since we're talking about simplifying our lives today. And so I went on the search and I found this really cool app called 24Me. It's a smart personal assistant that you can hold right in your hand. This is available on iOS and Android devices, and it's award-winning because it's helped millions of people with their productivity. Doesn't that sound great? Wouldn't you like to have an app that made your life a little simpler because you had everything all in one place? I love it because it puts everything related to your schedule in one place, and it syncs with all of your calendars. It gives you things like weather alerts, birthday alerts. You can also share it with your reminders with family and friends, with people that are real-time participants. It is free to download and use. Now, if you want to upgrade, there's a premium 24Me Pro, and that is $5.99 a month, or I think it's about $35.99 per year. Sounds like a really cool app. I plan to check it out and see if it helps me, because I'm a addict about writing notes. I still, even though I have my phone, I write notes. I have pieces of paper on my desk, and I'm always combining those lists. So this app would be something really good for me. All right, 24Me personal assistant. I hope you get one.
Meow, not bow wow. Meow, not bow wow. Meow, not bow wow. Meow, not bow wow.
So I live in what's called the suburbs, and I always have, but I'm always a little envious of people who get to live right downtown. It seems like a lot of fun, a lot of energy. You just walk out of your apartment or your condo, you're right in the thick of the city. It sounds really fun. But to have pets could be a little bit of a challenge. But if you live in an apartment or a condo, a cat could be a great fit for you. Yes, I'm always trying to find cats, more homes, more fosters for cats. I think cats are good for you if you live in an apartment. Listen to what I'm saying. Apartment dweller, cat lover. Apartment dweller, cat lover. All right, good. I've made you a convert. Well, first of all, if you're living in an apartment or a condo, you've got to check to make sure your landlord or, the building association is okay with you having a pet. But cats are so fun and so easy to live with. And of course, you don't have to take them outside to do anything. It all happens just right there in one place. Now, if you are living with a cat in your apartment, there are a few things that you have to think about. And I even think about this living in my house out in the suburbs, is if a maintenance man or somebody would have to come into your apartment to do work, you'd have to make sure that they do not use the open door policy, because cats are curious. They love doors. Cats have got a real thing about doors. They love to stand by doors and look out them. They love to go through doors. They love to stand and look in if they've just been left out. I don't know what the deal is with cats. They're just freaked out about doors. So that's something to think about if you're thinking about getting a cat. Also, you might be able to meet other cat people in your complex. And cat people are crazier and cuckoo more than dog people. You could start your own cat people club right there in your apartment complex. And another thing that's cool is you might be able to help somebody out who needs care for their cat. They're going away for the weekend. They need somebody to come in and feed their cat, pet it, play with it for a little bit. You would get to hang out with even more cats than just yours. And then you wouldn't have to actually keep that cat too. Also, cats love to watch TV. Now, I don't mean regular TV, although we did have a cat named Frank who loved CBS Sunday Morning. He loved to watch the nature segment at the end of the show. But I'm talking about a window. Of course, close the window before you let your cat sit by it. But you might be able to put up a little window seat or a perch for your cat, and boom, free entertainment for your cat. So while you're gone and your cat is all alone, I'm going to tell you that it misses you, but probably it doesn't. But as long as it has a window to look out, it will be able to keep itself busy until you come back, to completely dote all of your attention on the cat. Feeding it, playing with it, petting it, brushing it, which is what you should be doing with your cat anyway. I hope those tips help you. And there you go with my Meow Not Bow Wow segment. Please send me any of your cat pictures and tips on cats, things that you've learned about being a cat owner. I would love to share them with our listeners. Well, it's time to say goodbye to everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed this show. Thanks so much again to Lynn Wilbanks, our Shero Spotlight guest. And I hope that you are going to like, listen, and download this podcast wherever you like to get your podcast. And don't forget to watch it on YouTube if you want to see the video portion of the show. I want to say a special thank you to my sponsors, WarnerWorks, warnerworks.net. Go check them out for production in Nashville, Tennessee. Also, Outreach U, and our newest sponsor, Music Pays My Rent. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the show, or you think you know somebody who would be a great guest, or you would like to be a guest on the show, you can email us at info@songwritergirl.com. And also, I would love to work with you. If you need a mentor, a career coach, or you just need to have some music and music career questions tweaked, you know where to find me at info@songwritergirl.com. Hope you're going to have a great week. I'm going to see you next week. Don't forget to tune back into Kirsti Cast. And whatever you do, stay inspired. See you next time.
You've been listening to Kirsti Cast.